The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. It's after midnight, and it's naughty time. Oh, yeah. I am Flesh Wound Dan, joined by producer Todd. Todd, how goes it?
You know, if you guys join in for any of our other shows, you do not have to hear that Dan's ASMR.
Oh, I'm going to do that on every show. Next review, we'll do an all A24 show, and I'll just do that voice the whole time.
Starting this week, this Wednesday, new Flesh Wound host, Ozzy V.
You can't replace me with Ozzy. I just can't even imagine Ozzy reviewing like horror movies. It's just
or erotic thrillers.
Yeah, I still feel Ozzy's working his way up to that R rating. I don't know. But I would allow him to come on and do an erotic thriller show though.
I've already spoken to him, so
yeah. You got to do, you know how like John Morrison has like the wind entrance with his hair and everything at the beginning, and he can do the intro just like me. There you go. That's all. That's got to happen. Just tell him to hold like a fan and just like let the hair. Could be like a Chilean Fabio. There you go. It's just got a stick of butter. There you go. We gotta appeal to everybody. So we'll make that happen.
Okay.
So, yes, we're here tonight to discuss yet more erotic thrillers, which I'm very excited. We're getting into some more obscure ones, although we do still have some heavy hitters as well. Although you can make a case that all of these are obscure because a lot of them have kind of been forgotten by time already, even though, yeah, 90s doesn't feel like that long ago, but effectively, I guess it has been. And we're going to discuss two tonight. As we've been saying, Fatal Attraction, Basic Instinct were kind of those smash hits around this period where a bunch of these were just getting made left and right, and money was being made hand over fist, as we talked about on our last show. We get into some of the Fred Olen Ray titles, and if you haven't listened yet and you are a fan of these films, we're building up a pretty impressive little library. But these also piggyback a 1992 film called Body of Evidence, which had the most bizarre casting, I think, for an erotic thriller in Willem Dafoe and Madonna. Although I want to say Dafoe actually, you know what, he lived to that point where I think Dafoe actually looks better than Madonna. Yeah. Can you imagine them fucking now, Todd?
Only is he doing it in full Lighthouse gimmick?
Lighthouse or Green Goblin? Take your panties off.
Okay.
Spread your legs. Here comes the pumpkin.
Okay, Dan.
I don't know. Is that good, Defoe?
No, I'm just you Green Goblin them, which is funny because you hate Marvel stuff, but that is perfect. Now I just want to see.
Well, I love Willem Dafoe.
I know you do.
Yeah. So that movie, Willem Dafoe. If memory serves, it's been a while, but I believe Willem Dafoe eats Madonna's ass.
Well, you know what? We will report back, and we will make sure we cover that one.
We will. We got to make it a GIF or a GIF or whatever the hell you call that thing. GIF? Is that what it is? A GIFy?
It's a GIF.
Something like that.
I don't know. I forget. Ozzy always yells at us which one it is, but it's a GIF.
Okay. ask Ozzy to create. Say we want one of Willem Dafoe eating Madonna's ass.
Well, we'll be able
but we want their 2023 faces superimposed over that. Make it happen, or body swap them. Maybe Madonna's eating Willem Dafoe's ass. Might happen. But yeah, that film. I don't really know what the box office was on that. I would imagine fairly successful just for Madonna alone. It's not known as a particularly great film, although it did have an early appearance. Well, not first appearance, but Julianne Moore, I remember, was in that one. A lot of great character actors. I think Richard Riley, I believe, might have been in it. That's what we might tackle at some point.
I definitely think we'll definitely do like a more mainstream, like the big ones. Yes. The studio ones, we'll say.
The studio ones, definitely. Because I'm really fascinated. I got to get that on Blu-ray because I forgot that they put that out, because I believe Madonna wanted Willem Dafoe, which again, interesting choice.
The DVD is the R-rated cut then, or the Blu-ray. Just warning you.
Then there's no point. That Blu-ray's pointless. All right. Well, I guess I'm tracking down an old DVD. Wow.
I think so. I'm double checking now, but I want to say it was like one of those stupid olive ones, but I'm checking.
That it would be really, really strange. But yeah, and I bet it doesn't even have Madonna.
The MGM ones do that a lot too.
No Madonna getting her ass eaten.
Okay, let's see. It's a Scream Factory one. Let's check. One movie, 2 cuts.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, $15. Maybe we'll have to do that one soon.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that sooner. We know what you know what? It probably wouldn't get as many clicks, but it would be funny just to have them now. Just them now with the Willem Dafoe from Lighthouse, just Madonna now. Yeah, and then I'll do the whole thing. I'll work on it, and I'll be Willem Dafoe the entire time. So we're a sexy podcast, man. So 1992's Body of Evidence. In the wake of that, well, we get some knockoffs. A Body of Influence, and we'll kick it off with the original Body of Influence from 1993, and director Gregory Dark, who we have already covered a chunk of his filmography on this show, if you go back and look at our archives. And in this one, a successful psychiatrist has his world turned upside down by the appearance of an erotic mystery woman who makes him prove just how far he will go for her love. All right, so we get Shannon Whirry back in this one, sort of playing Laura and her nympho alter ego Lana.
Well, I do want to throw this out here real quick before we get too far in, because you made a point of it on our Animal Instinct show to point out that this was called Animal Instincts 2 in some markets.
Yes. So very confusing. Yeah, and we do explain that if you go back and listen to the Animal Instinct show. Most places it's not. So yeah. But if you want to just bunch them all together, that works too. You won't be too lost following along in the plot. But
they are 2 separate movies, just so we have that clear.
2 separate movies, yes. And I guess you in the UK could possibly be a little bit confused. So there is some crossover. Again, a lot of these movies were made right around the same time. We do get a small role from Bobby Phillips. She's one of the first women that are being interviewed about her sex encounters. This is like, these erotic thrillers almost take place in their own universe. Just I don't feel like it's an accurate portrayal of psychiatry.
They ruined everything for me as a young child. I was expecting all this.
You go into therapy. It's like, when are we gonna start talking about my threesome fantasy? Well, why are you asking me about my mom? You're killing the vibes, man. So Bobby Phillips, who I think is probably one of the most beautiful women probably the most beautiful actress you likely have never heard of. And she really wasn't known for these movies, and she doesn't have any real sex scenes here, but she does utter the line, "Then I tell him to lick me there." So you get to see a spicy little interview with Bobby Phillips. As I mentioned with her last time, TC 2000 with Billy Blanks, which I believe was her first movie. Also the Chameleon trilogy, which was kind of like a Dark Angel type thing. I think it was like a backdoor TV movie that was maybe going to become a show, and it didn't. She's not talked about a lot. We also get Sandal Bergman, who pops up in a few of these herself, but never does nudity in these, which is always, her casting's always kind of odd. She'll do like a little sex scene, but we cut away before we see anything from Sandal Bergman. We do have a pretty strong lead is Jonathan Brooks, the doctor, Nick Cassavetes, who is a director and actor. Acting wise, you probably will recognize him from Face Off. If you're fans of this show, you may know him from Class of 1999 to The Substitute and stuff like Delta Force 3, Blind Fury with Rutger Hauer. Really good actor. He did a few of these. I know he was also in Sins of Desire, Sins of the Night. So he's another one that kind of had a little bit of a run there, but he also directed stuff like Alpha Dog and
I love Alpha Dog.
Yeah, and I know My Sister's Keeper was another one. So talented guy. Once again, this period was very unusual, and as we go along, you'll see it changed in a relatively short amount of time. But you'd have a lot of different actors that would dip their toes in these kinds of movies. We get Richard Roundtree, which is hilarious because Shaft plays a character called Harry Reams in this one. So shout out to the legendary golden era Harry Reams for you Triple X fans out there. We get as well similar themes in a lot of these movies. We always have the voyeur neighbor trope that not always, but like that pops up a lot. There's always like some voyeur that's like doing stuff now that they would be canceled for, but sometimes, you could film people without them knowing, and you're still the baby face, I guess, in the erotic thriller world. This is also notable for an earlier appearance from one of my personal favorites, Monique Parent. And she is drop dead gorgeous. She stuck with not only erotic thrillers, she did a lot of softcore, and she's notable. She popped up in a bunch of Fred Olen Rage and Wynorski type stuff. She's probably one of the better actresses of these films. She's really, really good. If you don't recognize the name, she was in one called Bloodthirsty or Bloodthirst, it might have been. It's like a erotic vampire film that I do recommend with Monique Parent. Really good seeing her pop up in this. Yeah, so this one has some funny dialogue. It kind of opens up with these ridiculous interviews, like a woman talking about coming to a really good kiss, which that's a skill. I don't think I've ever made that happen by kissing a girl, but just got to work on my skills, I guess. It's a little bit kind of midway as far as like skin quotient goes. It's not all the bump and grind. It's got a fun little storyline, like I said, with the whole Laura Lana. I guess it's basically split with beaver scenes basically split with beaver shots. It's got a sort of over the top, fun little story for this type of movie. I enjoy the scene where uh, where Lana, the nympho alter ego of Shannon Whirry's character, shows up and with the fiance, and she, of course, the fiance storms out all pissed off, and literally within like 10 seconds of just the fiance just leaving him, he's banging Lana.
Yeah.
Like, please don't go. Then like not even 10 seconds, it's just like cue the jazz music, then it's just like bump and grind.
Well, she left.
She left. I guess like it's like we were on a break.
Yeah.
That would have been funny. I forgot my keys, and then she comes in and he's like balls deep. What did you think of this one, Todd? Because I thought it was fun.
Yeah, this one it is fun. I don't think it's one of the upper echelon like so far, but as erotic thrillers go, I have a good time with this one. Not one I'm really going to recommend for a first time. So if you're already a fan of them, I think this is a good time. Not Shannon Whirry's best or Gregory Dark's best, but still worth a watch.
Definitely worth a watch. Also worth a watch for the actress Tiffany Million, who you may or may not recognize that name, but she plays Margaret here. But she is also known for the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling Glow show, where she wrestled under the name Tiffany Mellon. And she has a very interesting backstory, because she did Glow, where apparently she was hazed because they thought that she was like a lesbian or something, and she got hazed. So she went on to do hardcore features. Well, yeah, I'm sure that's kind of like
them.
You kind of have to, yeah. But she was in the Temple of Poon. She did the Adventures of Mr. Tootsie Pole, which I don't think I've seen. And
wow, I figured you'd be going to grab it off the shelf.
I will find it. I will have to find it. Had a pretty solid career in adult features, and yeah, she also did the Triple X Files, Lust in Space, Hookers of Hollywood, Demolition Woman, lots of films that I kind of remember, but it's been a little while since I've dived into her adult filmography. But she was also imported, because I think she worked with Gregory Dark on one that I believe was a fairly big hit. It was Tom Byron was in it, The Crease Master's Wife, which was the Crease Master was a popular adult series. I think they made a few of those, if I remember right.
Was it a parody of the Beastmaster?
It's been a little bit. No, I don't believe so.
Then it's a waste of a title.
No, well, if that doesn't do it for you, Todd, there's always Butt Slammers 4 Down and Dirty, or one that I did see also from '93. She was very busy in '93. The Beverly Hillbillies.
I kind of remember that one.
That one, I feel like, yes, you would have hunted down.
I know. I'm looking at her thing. Taxi Girls 3 I've 100% seen, and New Wave Hookers 3.
But here's the thing: were you aware when you were watching the adult films that she was in Glow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you knew at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know that I made that connection way back in the day necessarily, because
I was older though too.
Yeah, that's true. You were, Glow, and then like, oh shit.
Well, didn't she use? Wasn't she also Tiffany Mellon in Glow?
Yeah, no, but she in what was her adult name? Hold on a minute.
Her adult name was Well, she used Tiffany Million. Hold on. See, she's listed as Tiffany Million. That's what I always remember as.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I believe she tried to pick, which is interesting that she did that. There were some variations she did on her name, and it gets a little bit
She added a
confusing.
Y, but either way, yeah.
Yeah, adult films were always kind of confusing because sometimes they just use some random throwaway name. Sometimes they'd have a cool name, but yeah.
I think 12-year-old Todd would have liked this a lot better.
Yeah, and Tiffany with the Y, Tiffany Million. She didn't use the Melon name though from Glow because I don't think she could because she wouldn't own that. But yeah, so back to this. For you Glow fans, there's a little bit of a bonus reason that you might want to watch this. What did you think? I think it had a solid male lead in this one. He wasn't too distracting, which we have had some that are a little bit distracting because sometimes the casting for the guy in the erotic thrillers is just totally random. But hey, they did that in the big leagues with Willem Dafoe. So I had a lot of fun with the story here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good on the erotic content front, though. Like, I feel our previous Shannon Whirry shows, which you can go back and listen to the reviews, are a better display of hers. But you do get to see Monique Parent, who, like I said, she'd be a contender. Not the level of name of a Shannon Tweed or a Shannon Whirry, but I'm gonna say I'd put her in terms of looks above them. But I like redheads. What can I say? So yes, this is a lot of fun. It gets kind of crazy. A lot of these, like towards the very end, that you get like a bunch of murder and craziness in the last 10-15 minutes. It's like, all right, enough for titties. Let's wrap up the story. So again, for this type of movie, I thought it was a fun little storyline, and I like the whole idea of essentially having Shannon Whirry play two personality types, but a little bit lower on the Whirry scale.
Yeah. So what would you give it?
This one I am going to give a 3. It's still above average. I have fun with it. Better the storyline than normal. I think Nick Cassavetes was really a solid lead in this one.
I agree, but there's just something working it against it for me. I gotta go with 2.5. It's an average one for me. It just, like you mentioned, the way they handled the erotic stuff was really weird too. So overall,
not that perfect balance. Yeah. I get that.
And I mean, we've seen better movies from both the director and the female lead.
Absolutely, yeah. Don't start with that one for Shannon Whirry.
No.
Although, as we're getting into it again, although a sequel, it's not really a sequel, so you kind of get a fresh start with this one. Which, as we reviewed some of these, some of the sequels have been better than the originals. So let's see where we lie with Body of Evidence 2, which this one is actually from a one and done director, Brian J. Smith. And this one stars Jodie Fisher as Lisa Watkins, who not known for these types of movies at all. She's done a lot of television, and she's probably best known for you horror fans listening to this show as playing Mercy Shaw in Charles Band's Blood Dolls. So a lot of TV, and still, I believe, semi-active. So
she was on one episode of Nightstand. I don't know if you remember Nightstand, the fake talk show that was on.
I do. Yeah, I never really watched it, but I know I
loved it. Timothy Stack was the host.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, she's very good in this. Well, I didn't even read the synopsis. You gotta know what Body of Influence 2 is about. So, totally original. The relationship between a psychoanalyst and his seductive, unhappily married patient, troubled by psychosexual nightmares, becomes dangerously intimate as they gradually reveal dark secrets from their past. All right, so this one, as I was saying, uh, the male lead who plays Dr. Thomas Benson is played by Daniel D. Anderson. Now, if you don't know that name, and obviously in many cases casual viewers of these could give two shits about about the male lead, but he did a lot of this. He was actually married for a long time to a heavy hitter in the soft core field, Kira Reed, and or who became Kira Reed Lorsch, who her second husband, she made a lot of money off of that guy. He was like a TV mogul type, so hence why we didn't get to see her boobs anymore, unfortunately.
Damn
But he was prolific. He was in stuff like The Erotic Misadventures of the Invisible Man, which is actually really fun. Scandal, 15 Minutes of Fame. If you watched Cinemax back in the day, you've absolutely seen him in a bunch of it. Sexual Intrigue's a good one. Bear Deception. I mean, that is pretty much what he did. Was those movies. Beverly Hills Bordello. Yeah, so he was prolific. He popped up in a few mainstream things, but essentially he was a softcore vet. He was in like Virtuosity. He might be more proud of the softcore stuff than Virtuosity, but yeah. So that's kind of the cast. Small role, very small role, but Landon Hall is also in this. She's just she's credited as club girl, but Landon Hall is in one of my favorite softcore films of all time. I believe the Full Moon DVD is edited, unfortunately, because some of those are the R-rated cut. But 1999's Hotel Exotica, which co-stars no, it's not softcore, hardcore goddess Taylor St. Clair, who is one of my favorite from the 90s era of those films, has one of the hotter scenes in any softcore film. So if you're ever looking for that, again, I do believe that the Full Moon DVD is edited, unfortunately, but Hotel Exotica 1999, since we're recommending some stuff, is, yeah, that one's primo softcore. So this one's pretty wild. Daniel D. Anderson, it's weird for doing all these movies. Not the most believable in this role. I don't know if it was just something about him playing like a doctor or something. Didn't quite feel.
Yeah.
It's not like Tara Reid playing a scientist in Alone in the Dark or anything quite that bad, but it's a little more out of place. I don't know if I bought his chemistry in here with the actress, but yeah, this one has some issues. It kind of constantly through flashback is repeating scenes. The GIMP scene they flash back to a lot, and it gets a little monotonous with that. There is some, there's like a kink club that they visit at one point, which kind of provides the bulk of the heavier nudity, which is here. There's full nudity in here for people looking for the erotic content. This one's not great. This is 1996 at this point, and we're kind of at a transitional period because these movies, the Erotic Thriller had already peaked at this point, so it's starting to decline a little bit. Not that there's a lot of stuff that's very entertaining that comes later, but this is somewhere in between. It's not like the full bump and grind every 10 minutes. feel, but somewhere in between. And it's not great. I don't love this one. I do like Jodie Fisher as a lead. Would have liked to have seen her in more of these types of movies, but this one is definitely skippable. But what did you think, Todd?
Yeah, I think you're being nice. This one, I get why he only directed one film. It's not good. It's kind of a mess. I'm not even a fan of the leads, either of them.
Okay.
Yeah, this one just kind of. I was really disappointed. Um,
Well, you'll be seeing him again.
yes, I know.
He did a lot of these things. So,
But yeah, unfortunately, this is like my first one is really a miss.
yeah, this
But
one also sets up a sequel that obviously never came to. So,
but
no
I
pun
think
intended.
both of these would play well with a group and some beers or whatever you would like to enjoy. I think there's fun to be had with this one, but as just a straight up watching it as an erotic thriller, there's a lot better.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where it fails because I'm like, okay, let's just get to the next titty scene.
Yeah,
I'm not as engaged at this point.
12-year-old Dan would have fast forwarded about 90% of this.
Well, you shouldn't have to fast forward in most of these because it comes so fast. Again, no pun intended. 12-year-old Dan might have, but you know. But yeah, this one's kind of trying to set her up as sort of a body chemistry character, and we didn't get any sequels after this one, unfortunately. Also, 3 years in between, a little more than normal. I don't think people particularly even remembered Body of Evidence at that point. I feel like that one was just out of the public's mind at that point. But yeah, this one's definitely a miss. Definitely a miss. Body of Influence in general, a little bit lower.
Yeah.
And you don't have Shannon Whirry. It's hard to replace Shannon Whirry.
Yeah, why do you think my last one got such a high
but Landon Hall, short career. She didn't do a ton of stuff in comparison to some of these other actors of that time, but still one of those ones. We talked about Wendy Schumacher on a recent After Dark, and again, didn't do a whole lot, but I remember her very well because of the stuff she was in. Hotel Exotica, once again, if you're looking for other suggestions, and
we should just put out there that is not an erotic thriller. It's just
no, that's softcore. Yeah, that's softcore. Landon Hall was also in a series of couple series, actually, the Masseuse films. I don't know if you remember those. I think she was in. I don't know if she was in the first one, but I know she was in one of the Escort movies. So some of those are erotic thrillers, some more softcore. But
there's a point where the line kind of starts to blend.
Absolutely. And that's one of the cool things about doing these shows. I know some of the reviews are a little bit shorter because, sometimes the stories aren't exactly that complex to break down. But I really like highlighting a lot of these actors and actresses because, once again, this is sort of that subgenre that is lost on a generation. Most of the DVDs out for this stuff came out in like the late 90s or very early 2000s. So, and they've been out of print for a very long time. So I don't know. I don't think that these have particularly captured this upcoming generation of movie fans' imagination. And I don't know if they will or not. That's why I think it's important to do these shows here on Flesh Wound. And I'm very happy to see how well they're doing. So I do feel like you are out there in the comments. Let us know, like, not just erotic thrillers, because we will be tackling some of these softcore titles. We do sex comedies on After Dark. We will be doing all kinds of stuff. Todd's a hater, but I am going to make him watch a lot of the Misty Monday stuff, Seduction Cinema. We're going to make that happen.
Not an erotic thriller. I'll pass.
Some of those qualify as erotic thriller, Todd. I don't know why. You have a aversion to that era, but I'm going to win you over because a lot of those
you won't.
really good. I will. You're going to see, Todd. It's not just Misty Monday.
I know the whole crew of women.
Yeah. Okay. We'll make that happen. Also, Fred Olin Ray, Jim Wynorski. Definitely want to cover a lot of these because, yeah, I don't know. It's sad to me that we don't get them anymore. And I want to make that happen. Keep those names like Kira Reed, Kim Dawson, Landon Hall, and all of these ladies alive. So if you have any requests as well, patreon.com/fleshwoundfeatures. It all starts at just $1. If you like our content, we really appreciate it. We do have that Secret Santa stuff coming. You can watch the first show on that if you want to know what that's all about, but that will be totally exclusive to Patreon, so it won't be going up on YouTube later or anything. So you help the show, we really appreciate it, and enjoy our even more uncensored content on there. Be sure to check out all of our Flesh Wound horrors as well. And we got a lot of that coming up and a lot of wrestling content, Squared Circle Society. We got you covered for all sorts of things here at Flesh Wound Features. So like, share, subscribe, put those comments in there. It really helps. Hit the notification bell because we do notice the difference when you guys do that. We appreciate it very much. So on that note, I think
we should probably rate it before we get out of here, Dan.
Oh shit, we didn't do
I
two.
know.
I'm all over the place.
That's all right.
This one is going to get my lowest rating so far. It's not an awful watch or anything, but I'm a 1.5.
I'm a 1.
Oh, okay, you're a little bit lower. There are better options for sure. Yeah. More often than not, it's funny that these do tend to be entertaining. There's not a lot of like, oh, that was just a slog, but not a slog, but this one was kind of close.
I know someone was watching, like they forgot to rate it.
Well, there you go.
We've only actually had to go back and throw the rating in like a week later once or twice.
Yeah, we did forget because we got to talking and just in your head you think like, okay, I've already.
Yeah, I think it would happen on a Slashed Over, but
okay.
We put it in the comments.
We put it in the comments. That works. So, guys, I think that's all we got for you tonight. And we'll see you back here next time. A lot more After Dark coming. So stay tuned. And good night. Oh, yeah.